Well, it's Valentine's Day, and on these special bonus videos, I want to give both my readers and fellow writers these two very special lists to help you understand me and my thoughts when it comes to love. Now, before I begin, this is a very important topic because adding a relationship to any story can make it so much better or so much worse. Now, I will be using male and female examples. If you are triggered by this, well, I am sure this can be flipped or twisted to almost any pairing. Also, in addition to being a writer, I am a single father, and I was and am still a hopeless romantic, and still believe in love and all the good things that come from that. So let's begin. My top 3 favorite love stories. Number 1, love conquering all. So I know this one is cheesy, but that's the point. In fantasy, this can happen many different ways. From true love's kiss saving the day, to changing a villain into a hero. The reason this is my most favorite is because it embodies the very idea of love, and shows that with enough risk or hope, this powerful emotion can bring two people together and strengthen both characters as they are open to embracing it, changing for the sake of the other and for themselves. Not to make the other happy, but to become the best partner they can be. Some of the greatest stories throughout time are because a couple comes together, falls in love, and works as one. Sadly, this works just as good for villains as it does for heroes. It can make them an even bigger threat and more dangerous. I mean, Voldemort lost simply because he could not love. Love is a magic all on its own, and that is why it conquers all. Number 2, the proof of love. This is powerful because it lightly taps into the previous one, but focuses more on the changing aspect of true love. What I mean by this is, okay, so you have a character, and they see another character. Well, from that moment on, there's a lot of ways the story can progress. But the main factor is that someone struggles to change themselves to get the other person to love them. Disclaimer. Okay, so I'm not talking change as in becoming a slave or a puppet to the other person's will. I mean that if a person, for example, is lazy and jobless, let's say, they push themselves to be better, getting off their ass and pursuing a job to prove both to themselves and the other person they do love that person. There are times this has been done poorly and it fails. But the times it succeeds are so great. Some examples, a quick example of this are like in Greece, Danny and Sandy. Yes, I have sisters and I have watched Grease with them. But the movie is kind of the prime example of this type of love. Both characters changed without changing too much and became better characters. And lastly, number 3, friends to lovers. It is my own personal belief that this relationship type can be instant. And this type of thing has been done quite a lot over the centuries. Some of my favorite forms of this comes from Big Bang Theory, Some Kind of Wonderful, and so much more. This is where you take characters, and after they meet, they might be attracted to each other, but they start as friends, which builds up slowly until finally one day something happens and they both give in to their feelings and realize that they are greater together than they are apart, wondering why they wasted so much time. The reason this is good is because the idea of being in love with someone should mean you want to spend the rest of your life with them and only them.
I mean, marriage, that's a big step. I mean, you're deciding, is this the person I want to annoy for the rest of my life?
I never want to make love to another man again.
And I never want to make love to another man either.
If you can stand to be around each other and get along with each other, despite any times you might fight or disagree, that shows why this works so well. Yes, Leonard and Penny fight and argue a lot, but they constantly prove how much they love each other in Big Bang Theory. These two characters constantly show each other new and exciting things and have fun doing this, so it never gets boring. This also works really well if you have two characters that, let's say, grew up together. Let's say they met in kindergarten and they've been going to school together for years. And as, they've reached teenagehood, their hormones are out of control and, they come together that way. I don't believe that being friends with someone and then jumping into a relationship with that person is a flaw, because you've been friends for so long, you know each other so well. It just works so well because you already know everything good and bad about that person. And if you're having feelings and that other person shares those feelings, it just goes to prove that, you guys have spent so much time together, of course you were destined to fall in love with each other. This is a prime example of basically what happens with Some Kind of Wonderful. The main character lusted after the popular girl, but was friends with this other girl. By the way, spoiler warning. But he ends up choosing his best friend because he realized that he was in love with her. Yeah, when this kind of story is done, the person realizes that they could have fun with the person they were chasing, but that's not what they're after. They're wanting true love. And that's what the best friend can give them. So, in my opinion, that is why that works. So this has been my top 3 relationships and stories. If you have not already, please check out my other video that I put up today, where I discuss my 3 most hated or disliked love stories. If you want to be enthralled in an all-new grand love story, please consider checking out my book series, The Guardian of Light, a modern-day fantasy series which has more than you could possibly imagine. I want to thank you all for watching, and I'll talk to you next time.